Welcome. Today on Cowboy Logic, we're going to cover sliding your hands up and down your reins and emergency brake stops. We're also going to cover spreading your hands out low and wide and creating a nice triangle so you can be a better leader for your horse. Then we're going to go into our ground tie segment where we start teaching our horses how to ground tie. And then we're going to finish off on how I would work it, getting a horse to focus on me in a new environment.
Trust and leadership are critical to success at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center in Manhattan. Just ask Coach Bill Snyder.
People of the Regenerative Center do care about others. I've been highly impressed with those people that have that vested interest and try to help people become better. The center really is a wonderful thing here in Manhattan, first of its kind, and we're on the cutting edge of what lies ahead.
Find out more about the trusted leader in stem cell therapy at kansasrmc.com. Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome to Cowboy Logic. In this segment, we're going to teach you how to free up your hands and get your hands sliding up and down your reins and being a lot better communicator with your horse. One of the most important things I see is people, young riders and novice riders, they get to locking down what I call the death grip on their reins, and they're not sliding their hands and moving their hands and adjusting. So when they get in trouble, the next thing you know, they've really grabbed a hold with both reins, and they've got themselves in trouble because they're actually teaching their horses to buck by pulling on them. They're giving that horse something to balance on, not allowing him to escape where he needs to go if he's in trouble, and not redirecting him. They're just pulling on him. So in this episode, we're really going to work on getting you to slide your hands down and redirect your horse. And one of the first exercises I teach all new riders in clinics or lessons is changing your center hand and sliding the hand down. So as I move one to the center, I slide the other down. One to the center, slide the other down. And this works on your Makati setups, your loop reins, and also your split reins. One of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of times when people ride their split reins is they start worrying about where their tails are. Just let them lay down and don't think you have to gather everything like that. We only want to worry about gathering the inside or the leading rein here. We want to be able to slide our hands down, slide our hands down. And once we start getting comfortable sliding those hands, then we'll add the next step. We'll slide and we'll just lift up until that horse softens and comes off that pressure, and we'll drop it. We'll change our center hand, we'll slide, we'll lift up till that horse softens, and we'll drop it. You'll notice I'm not bending this horse all the way around here. Right now this horse is a little more finished, but if I was riding a younger horse and we were still in a snaffle, I'd slide down, I'd lift, and I'd go ahead and I'd bring it back to my front pocket here. Now, where we're going to go from here is I want to make sure that this horse is soft here. So I'm just asking him. I'm changing that hand. You can almost see that Buster's done it enough times that he almost does it on his own. When we come back, we'll start talking about the importance of the emergency brake stop.
Are your cows practical or profitable? If you want them to be both, then come to the Dale Banks Angus Bull Sale Saturday, November 18th near Eureka, Kansas. Selling 130 hard-working, balanced straight bulls developed in the rugged Flint Hills. For 113 years, the Perriers have been providing practical, profitable genetics to cattlemen nationwide. Join us November 18th or bid online at liveauctions.tv. Call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
Welcome back. We're going to expand on sliding our hands up and down the reins and moving our center hand now. And we're going to actually add some motion in here and start working on our emergency brake stops. Remember, your horses are only as good as your foundation, and your rider's only as good as the foundation. So it's important that we practice all of these basic maneuvers a lot at all the different speeds so we get consistent at doing them. As we get ready to start practicing our emergency brake stops, I'm just going to ask my horse to walk off. I've got my right hand in the center. I'm going to slide that left hand down, and I'm just going to lift straight up, and I'm going to hold that pressure on until my horse stops, all 4 feet, and then softens. Then I'll drop it out of my hand like it's a hot potato. Then I'll ask him to walk off again. I'll slide my right hand down. I'm going to lift straight up. I'm going to hold till he stops and softens. You can see he kind of moved into that pressure a little bit. If he wants to move in, that's perfectly fine. I'm not going to change where I'm pulling. I'm going to hold that pressure till he softens. And I didn't really like what he did there, so I'm going to soften him back off of it. So here's the steps to it again. As I'm walking off, I'll slide that left hand down that rein, and I'll just lift up. And I'll let him find that stop. You can see he kind of turned to the left. He was seeing if that was the right answer at that point. So I'm not going to get critical of him there. I'm going to say, hey, great job in looking to find the answer. We always want our horses searching out the answers. We're going to bring Elizabeth in here in just a second, and we're going to work on changing that pivot hand and sliding down and getting that emergency brake stop. You're going to move your left hand to the center of your reins and slide your right hand down. Okay, so that's one of the things that I was kind of talking about earlier. And that is our young riders get to wanting to keep their hands in one spot and not sliding them. So the exercise that we're going to work on is I'm going to slide one hand to the center of my reins, then I'm going to slide my other hand down the rein, and I'm going to pull it into my pocket, okay? So there you go, really good. Now just change your center hand, slide your other hand down. Boom, there you go, great job. Change your center hand, slide your other hand down. What I found by being really conscious about changing that center hand and then sliding your other hand is it gets us to where we're not pulling on our horses all the time. When we get our hands out here like this, a lot of times we get to pulling, and we don't want to pull on our horses. We want to guide our horses. So just ask Mojo to walk off, Elizabeth. All right. Put one hand in the center. Now slide your other hand down and put it in your pocket. You're going to hold it in your pocket till all 4 feet are still and he softens. That means he puts slack in the reins. Release right there. Drop it like it's a hot potato. All right, ask him to walk off again. Change your center hand. And when I'm doing this drill, I'm not that worried about where my horses are going. I'm in an arena, and slide it into your pocket. There you go. All right, walk off again. And I also try to make sure that I'm alternating sides. That way I'm always trying to get my horse balanced. Keep my horse balanced. There you go. Really good. As soon as he puts slack in that rein, release. Good. Walk him off again and ask him again. All right, slide that hand down and bring it into your pocket. And you can see as she does that, Mojo has a tendency to want to brace just a little bit. That's just part of it. It's going to take us a little bit of time to get him softer, and we just have to keep working at this. And I would, if we were in a lesson right now, we would do this at a walk, a trot, and a lope, and this may be the only thing we covered in today's lesson. When we come back, we're going to work on teaching you how to use your hands more efficiently to help your horse and to guide your horse through using a nice wide triangle base in your hands.
This is one of my favorite bits that I make. The name I give this bit is a derby bit. I had a roan head horse that was running through the bridle with the chain bit, and I made this bit here. It really worked good on that horse. I sent this bit to Donnie McNeese, who breaks in cattle for Jeff Smith and Ike Cox, and I said, ride this bit on a lot of horses, see how you get along with it. They did. He said, Bull, that's really a good bit. Fits a lot of horses. Then I give this bit to my good friend Brent Wright, who I make bits for, and I said, see how this bit will work on a reining horse. I call him up a couple months later. I said, Brent, how you get along with that bit? And he said, good. He said, you don't need it right this minute, do you? And I said, no. He said, good, because I'm down here in Texas and I just won a big futurity riding that bit. And when Brent got home, he gave me the buckle that he won the futurity with. I'm really proud of that buckle that Brent Wright gave it to me, and also that he got along so good with my bit.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil, and the decision continues improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
In this segment, we're going to work on coming from our center point or our center hand and getting into a nice wide triangle with our hands and shortening our reins. Where this is going to come into handy is as we come into obstacles and we need to help that horse to walk a straight line through things, or as we're getting ready to stop our horse. Anything we do, we need to be able to move our hands on our reins to help our horses to be a better communicator. So as we're just sitting here, Elizabeth, we're going to start from our center point like we did on our other deals, bring our other hand up next to it, then just open both them hands a little bit and allow them to slide out nice and wide, like so. And we want to get in the habit of making this to where this is easy for us to do. So we're going to start walking off here. We'll be walking around. I'm going to slide them hands, shorten them reins, slide them hands out wide. Now I'm just going to sit down and quit riding. And I'm going to hold until this horse backs up. And then I'm going to release real big. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk off, slide them hands out into a nice wide triangle. Now sit down, quit riding, and hold till that horse finds reverse, just like that. That was a really good, nice job, Elizabeth. So we can turn here. We're going to walk back off. Now spread your hands out, low and wide. Sit down, quit riding, and then just hold till that horse transfers that energy into the reverse. Whereas these exercises don't seem like you're asking a horse to do a lot of things. They are the very basic part of their foundation. So it's important that you spend the time with these so your horse can start noticing that your seat has changed, that your reins have changed. And first and foremost, allow the horse to find the answer. Don't make it happen. As you spread those hands out and that horse is walking forward and you sit down, don't start pulling more. Allow that horse to find the answer. Our corrections are through our legs, not through our hands. Our reins are just a guide for the horse. When we come back, we're going to work on teaching our horses how to ground tie, and then we're going to finish off on how I would work at getting a horse to focus on me in a new environment.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
I get a lot of questions about how I teach my horses to ground tie. First and foremost, I want you to realize this is not something you should start working on when your horse is fresh. This is always something I work on at the end of a lesson. And actually it ties right into my groundwork that I do with my horses. When I put my rein down, it's no different than if this horse was tied to a tree or tied to a post or tied to the fence. He is tied to that ground right there, and he should stay there. I believe that he should always stay there. So as I start introducing a ground tie on a young horse, I actually set the head first. I just hold here till that head drops a little bit, then I set it, and then when I go to walk away, I just walk away like it's no big deal, and I try to leave him there. The other thing that I also try to make sure is there's not a bunch of beautiful green lushy grass sitting around here or a hay bale right here or a whole lot of distractions as I'm starting to try to build this connection to this horse to get him to stay here when I ask him to. Another important tool can be that you actually hobble your horse and get them used to being able to just stand and do nothing when you're asking them to do that. So when I come back to him, I rub on him a little bit. We'll add a little bit of energy here. I'll lope him around. I'll step off of him, and then I'll ask him to ground tie, and we'll just kind of start working from there. So I'm just going to ask this horse to move off here. Add a little life in his feet. I'm going to ride up here, sit down, quit riding, step off of him. I'm going to set that head. There we go. And I'm going to leave him. Now, say he steps forward just a little bit like that. I'm going to give my horse the benefit of the doubt right there. I'm not going to run back to him right then. I'm not going to say, whoa. I'm not going to do a bunch of the things that you see a lot of people do when they ask for a horse to ground tie. I'm going to wait and make sure to see if my horse was working on his balance point at that point. So you can see that Buster's standing really good. You can also see Mojo in the picture, and he's standing here ground tied. First and foremost, let's make sure that we're rewarding these horses and rubbing on them and letting them know that that's exactly what we wanted them to do. It's a really good job. Now, if I'd walked in the pen today and I was going to start working on a ground tie, I would have went and rode him, gave him his lesson, and then came back and worked on the ground tie. I would not start a ground tie when the horse is cold. Coming up next, I'm going to show you how I would work on getting a horse to focus in a new environment on Cowboy Logic.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways, of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at kfrm.com, or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Howdy folks, it's time to saddle up for a brand new television series called Cowboy Up, a celebration of the American cowboy. Our show will feature the very finest in Western musicians and cowboy poets for your enjoyment. We'll explore Western music, meet these performers up close and personal, and enjoy their performance of music and rhyme. This is Cowboy Poet Laureate Ron Wilson inviting you to join me as we cowboy up. Happy trails.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Welcome back. One of the biggest questions I've been getting asked over the past few weeks is when I take my horse to a new place, how do I help to get them focused on me instead of all of the new items? You'll see a lot of different ways that people will introduce. They'll lead the horses around. They'll try and go really slow. They'll hold the horse still. They'll let them go up and sniff everything. Here's the problem with that approach. If you want your horse to focus, focus comes through the feet. So therefore, a horse has to be able to get out and move, and we have to approach it more like a horse would on his own in the wild through approach and retreat. We don't want to hold a horse around a stimulus that is scaring him, because that would be no different than me throwing you in a closet with a bunch of spiders and you being deathly afraid of spiders. So if I come into an area and my horse is getting nervous, I'm going to put the feet to work. So I'm going to use this bridge to simulate my horse not focused on me. I'll just start off, and as soon as I feel that horse is starting to get bothered, I'm going to change direction. I'm going to bring him up here. I'm going to change direction. I'm just going to work my way either around this bridge or around the arena, and I'm going to keep redirecting this horse, getting his feet in tune with my reins and my seat, trying to help him, get him focused and let him know that it's absolutely okay for him to be nervous right now, but I'm here for him, and I'll be a good leader for him instead of me throwing him out there, leading him around to everything, saying, here, you take control of your feet and we'll figure it out. That doesn't work. I have to be willing as a leader to be in control of my horse's feet so I can get my horse to focus on me. If I want him with me as a partner, I have to be that constant leader for my horse. And you can see she's a little bit confused right now. She thinks when we point her at an obstacle that she's supposed to go up and over it, and that's fine. But you can see she's rushing a little bit there. So I'm going to take this opportunity to just keep redirecting. One of the most powerful things anybody ever taught me about riding a horse is horses feel positive and negative energy. Through that positive and negative energy, we're always redirecting to the positive. So me as a leader and a rider for my horse, it's really important that as my horse gets bothered and I start to feel that negative energy come up in that horse, that I relax and I redirect it in a positive manner. Through your foundation of your horse comes a successful horse. We don't have to get complicated for these guys. Keep it simple. The simpler it is, the easier it is for your horse to understand. When we come back, I'm going to change horses. I'm going to switch over onto a horse named Mojo. He has a lot of anxiety about being around other horses and new places, and I'm going to show you how this technique will work on an anxiety-filled horse.
Are your cows practical or profitable? If you want them to be both, then come to the Dale Banks Angus Bull Sale Saturday, November 18th near Eureka, Kansas. Selling 130 hard-working, balanced straight bulls developed in the rugged Flint Hills. For 113 years, the Perriers have been providing practical, profitable genetics to cattlemen nationwide. Join us November 18th or bid online at liveauctions.tv. Call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
This Medford, New Jersey school bus runs on biodiesel, and so do these. In fact, all of these buses run on clean-burning biodiesel, which is great because the more we use biodiesel in our heavy-duty vehicles, the less carbon pollution in our air. Think how great it would be if more of our school buses ran on biodiesel. More biodiesel, less carbon pollution. More is less. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil, and the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
Welcome back. This is Mojo. He's a young student of mine's horse, and he's extremely buddy sire. So we're up here on the top of the hill away from all the other horses. What I expect when I start moving him here is I expect him to start talking and really focusing more on what's going on at the barn than what I'm asking him to do. And through redirection, I'm going to help this horse come back to me and get focused. I may have to disengage his hip a little bit. I may have to ask his shoulders to step through. But through those different processes, I'm going to help get this horse focused. We're going to do the same thing we were doing earlier on Cherokee, just working right here on this bridge. When this horse's head comes up and both ears go forward, I'm going to call that he's not paying attention to me at that stage, and I'm going to redirect right then, and I'm going to try and keep him where he starts looking to me for leadership instead of looking to the other horses. So we're going to get started here. I'm just going to walk him off. I'm going to really be watching for his expression. Go ahead and ask him to trot. We're going to work around this bridge. right there, he kind of left me. I'm just going to redirect him. He's kind of pushing. Anytime I feel this horse getting out from between my legs, which means he's pushing somewhere I'm not asking him to go, at this stage I'm going to redirect. Like right now, he's pushing toward the outside. So I'm just going to redirect him. Right rein, left leg there. I'm going to move him off. I'm going to come around here. I'm going to ask him just kind of move straight down this bridge here. If I feel him, that was really nice. He's going to go faster than what I want, so I'm just going to disengage the hip here, push it around. And that's just kind of a halfway effort. There, that's better. Now I'm just going to release and let him walk out from there. I'm just going to work on. Kind of watch his horse's ears. They're staying back. He's starting to really think about me instead of about everything else. As I turned him and come back here, he kind of got his ears up, that head came up. I'm just going to redirect. What happens when a horse gets fearful of something, they'll usually flee. And when they flee, they'll go to a point where they feel safe. And then they'll turn back to it and they'll re-inspect it. Well, we need to remember that as riders and leaders for our horses. Instead of holding them in a place where they're fearful, we need to allow them to create that space. When they create that space, then move back forward. But before we lose their attention and the drive of that hip, we need to redirect them away and gradually keep working our way there. Through approach and retreat, you'll start getting that horse confident in new environments very, very quick. But once again, if I had this horse and he was really, really bothered by something, and he was in a high anxiety state, if I went to trying to just hold him or beg him to stand still, he wouldn't come to me nearly as fast. And in fact, it might be like I was lighting a piece of dynamite. He may really leave me, because when they get in that anxiety state, what they are asking us for is for us to step up and to be the leader. The last thing any horse wants to do is be the leader. So anytime you get on your horse's back, always ask yourself, what is my horse's mental state today? What does he need from me? And when things aren't going right, remember, he woke up this morning, he wanted to eat, and he wanted to drink. Mother Nature wired those two things into him. He didn't wake up and say, I hope you come out and ride me. It's our responsibility to our horse, when we get on them, to be a leader and to help them through their emotions. Thanks for watching us today on Cowboy Logic TV. Please go out on the web and check out our new website, cowboylogictv.com, and become a fan of our show.